Okay, here we are, end of week 6 of the FJ62 restoration. Fair bit of stuff accomplished this week. Trying to remember where we were in the end of the last video. I think I had just really started on the roof repairs. The roof, if you recall, was really rusty. It was in pretty bad shape. Actually, it was totally detached on the driver's side rear corner. The rust had run along the rain gutter, and it had gotten into the under the roof cap. There's basically a superstructure. The roof cap kind of sits down on top of. That was really bad. The rear cargo window had lots of rust on the bottom side of it. This all stems from the impact and the repair job that was done years ago. The body shop used a bit of Bondo, and they didn't prep the metal beforehand. They just got it looking pretty and pushed it out the door. So we're having to go back and cut all that bad metal out and put new metal in, repair it. So I got that pretty much done. I'll show you here in a second what that looks like. All the different repairs that went along with it. There's some pictures I'm going to stick here in the video so you can see the roof was cut open. And I've moved on to the passenger side rear quarter panel as well. So let's move over to the truck. Okay, here's the rear cargo window. Don't recall if you remember, but this was pretty messed up. There was several holes from rust all along the bottom here. I've had to cut that out, put new pieces of metal in. Hopefully the rain that you hear is not too loud. So this these patches are nice and strong, but this is really, there's several curves here, and so I got this strong, but really I'm going to skim coat all this and block sand it to make these lines perfect before it ever goes to paint. Let's move up here. So all this, all the way down, had to be cut out. I was lucky enough, this rear corner was still good metal, so I was able to salvage that. But I had to put in all new metal all around it. Also, I cut open the roof entirely because underneath the roof here, it's actually easier if you look inside. You see over there, this superstructure, this roof cap, the roof just lays down on top of this. It's tack welded in a few places, spot welded, and then they got seam sealer that runs all around it. But the problem is, if that seam sealer breaks away, and this is a 30-year-old truck, so the seam sealer that's down here in this gutter, it's hard, it's pulling away from the metal, and so, you know, the rust can get behind there pretty easy. So I got some finish welding I need to do, grinding to clean it up. This is all real strong. I'm going to grind these, put some more welds in here to fill this a bit, grind this down. But the vast majority of this, I'm going to epoxy coat the whole body, and then I'm going to go in and seam sealer to smooth those valleys out. Yeah, so it's still a bit messy. I got some grinding I need to do to clean this off, but you can see it's all nice and strong now. Let's move over here to the rear quarter panel. I don't know if you recall, but this side had some rust, and it also had an impact. So I was able to reuse a lot of the metal. There's a few rust through spots, but I was I thought about cutting this away, but actually what I was able to do is basically just open up the few rust spots that were in the middle of the metal panel here, use a copper spoon, and just weld from the backside. So now I can come in here and grind this smooth. I had to straighten this panel out, had to add the new crease back in here. This is all brand new metal because this is all totally rusted away, but I still need to go in here, draw this line, cut this curve down, and then weld a lip on the front side of this. But this is all nice and strong, good metal now. So that's looking good. Well, I had some downtime during the week. I ran out of gas. Actually, I went through another bottle of gas. I started cutting out. If you can remember, there was just a hole about the size of a quarter here and a couple of other holes. Thing is, the underbody coating, the rubberized underbody coating, if anything gets behind it, this is the problem with rubber undercoating, in my opinion. Anything gets behind it, it'll just start to peel away that rubber, but the rubber holds it. And some of these places where they sprayed it, I mean, it's an inch thick, and it's friggin' hard to get out. So I had to cut this way back. This cross member on this side is actually not that bad. It'll be real easy to build, but the other side, the driver's side, is worse. But I had to go back to the point that I knew I had good metal. I went ahead and put rust converter on everything else, just as a way to stop any of the surface rust. And then I'll go back in. I'll actually probably open these up a little bit more so I have straighter lines to work with and rebuild that. You walk around to the driver's side so you can see it. It was a little worse. Had to open it up a bit more. This actually is the heat shield underneath. It's not attached to the body, but they're pretty bad. They may need to be pulled out as well. But this cross member was pretty bad on this side. I had to cut it away, and I'm going to need to rebuild that support there, rebuild this whole panel underneath so this has something to weld to. It actually looks worse than it is, in my opinion, because this is all, I just need to make this really strong. It doesn't have to be beautiful because it's all going to be covered in Dynamat and carpet anyway, so that's not going to be terrible. Some of these curves aren't too bad. Bend a lot of these by hand because they're all nice smooth bends, but that's what's going on there. I also spent today getting out the rest of this like asphalt sound deadening, and from removing it back here and up to about this point, I probably spent 10 hours removing this with a screwdriver and a hammer and popping it free until I learned a trick. I just got sick of screwing with it, and I took my planish hammer. It's got a sharp point on it, and you just start whacking it, and this stuff will pop right off. It does leave little dimples underneath, but like I said, it's all going to be covered in Dynamat, and then carpet's going to be top of that, so I could care less if there's little dimples in the floor pan. What else did I do? Yeah, I started to look at this, and I got some rust back in there. Oh, that was up there, yeah. Good. That's good, so now I'll be able to tack that back in. So, what happens is leaves get all down inside here, fills it all up, and it holds moisture. That just eats its way through. So, this isn't going to be too bad. This is just cut a patch, shape it and everything. This might be a bit of a pain in the ass to fix. I'm gonna need to pull out the air box inside, and once I pull that out, I'll have much better access to fix that. I need to pull it out anyway just to make sure it all works. Yeah, so that's what we did this week. Again, having the rotisserie here is a huge help. Being able to rotate this up and work at this stuff at eye level is a massive help. Makes things so much easier. So I need to grind this away, weld a piece of new steel here and here, and that'll give me a backing where I can then cut a piece of metal that'll go right up against it and tack it in. So it won't be too bad. It's just a matter of cutting the pieces and putting them in place. While I was in here, I started to look at this stuff. A lot of this interior rust is it's not as bad as it looks. A lot of it I think is surface, but because of the nature of this truck, I'm going to go ahead and pull this seam sealer out and make sure that it didn't get up underneath the seam sealer. If it did, then I'll cut that out and I'll weld some new metal there, but that won't be too much of a problem. Anyway, it's coming along. It's a lot of work, but a lot of the really hard stuff I'm getting done. That roof was a serious chore. I was really worried about that roof and whether or not I was going to be able to recreate all the lines since it was totally detached. But you can see looks pretty good. The rain gutter I'm a little not perfectly happy with that. I need to spend some more time and straighten that out in a couple places, but all in all, it's coming along. So, you got any questions? Let me know.